What's up, everybody? It's Chad from Grassy Logic. Hope you like that little countdown at the beginning. It's new. I'm here today with another episode after we've been back. We've been gone for a couple weeks, 420. Then I released the 420 extravaganza video that I had and all that. And then I did the review, but we'll talk about that more at the end of the video, and you guys will get more information on that. I'm actually here with Bob today from GreenGo. And he's actually been on the show before, and GreenGo's actually been on a couple times. But there's a couple updates at GreenGo, and I want to share it with you guys. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Bob.
I'll say hi. I'm Bob, the GreenGo Lancaster from GreenGo, and just a couple of quick things here. Here in town, we are moving our in-town location. So the OG is moving from 2000 East Lowman right up the street to 1810 East Lowman. 2 weeks ago, we had the grand opening for the Deuce out in Anthony. So we have a second location in Anthony,
Nice.
A little closer to our Texas folks.
Nice.
And just growing, expanded, nothing but good.
Nice. Yeah. Well, it's good to see, here that you guys are doing an update, still doing well and everything. Because you were here April 1st, right, last year?
Actually, April 5th, only because we had a little
April 5th.
BioTrack issue. So,
of course.
It was the 5th of April.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
First, but yeah,
Damn you, BioTrack.
It is evil.
Yeah, it's an evil. They call it biotrash for a reason.
I just first time heard it, but that's appropriate.
Yeah, that was actually from the medical cannabis side. It was called that years ago.
Okay.
And it I guess it didn't stick the whole way. But yeah, it used to be called biotrash. But yeah, anyway, so thank you for some of those updates. What do you guys have going on? You new rewards program? Do you guys have any events going on?
Yes, we made it easy. We used to run a whole bunch of different discounts, first responders, military, yada yada, that sort of stuff. We opened up a rewards program. So every time you spend money in the store, you get a point for every dollar you spend. You can rack those up. You can use them as long as you want. We got a big 710 celebration coming up.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So we've got a couple of new providers of some very high-end concentrate, and we'll be having some outrageous deals on those in both locations. Beyond that, man, like I say, things are just moving and shaking.
Nice. Yeah, I think you even mentioned some price changes, that you guys had too in the store.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. As a matter of fact, as the market has started to stabilize in this last year, our flower prices have come way down.
Okay.
Obviously, some of the highest quality stuff, we were at the top end of pricing, but all those producers, even at that high quality, those numbers are coming down. We can sell $7 grams now, or we can never do that before.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's getting better and better, and still providing a very high quality product.
Nice, because that's what you guys all have been about since the beginning, was high quality product in your store.
Exactly.
That's good to hear.
We want to be on the upper end of it.
Yeah, and and you guys stuck around, so there's these other guys that happen. We'll get more on that here in a little bit, guys, because he's talking about pricing. We have a lot to talk about pricing, and a really good show ahead of us. So thank you for the updates. Is there anything else you want to say before we keep going for the rest of the show about GreenGo?
No, man, I'm going to defer to you. All you got to do is come in the door, and GreenGo says everything there is to say about it. Look at all the 5-star reviews.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you for that. And anyway, we're going to go on with the rest of the show. Thank you for those updates. I know that's really quick. Usually we spend like 10, 15 minutes, but they've been on the show. So go to the prior shows if you want to hear all about them, because I don't want him to have to repeat himself, over and over again with this story and everything. So anyway, this episode is probably going to be a little bit shorter because we have a couple of topics, but they're really important topics. The first one I want to really talk about is sales. In April, we're breaking records now when it sells. We kind of, we're in this little stable thing. I think January and Christmas kind of, emptied a lot of pockets. And so now they're a little replenished from taxes. And so April, we saw a total of $46 million in cannabis sales total, which is a lot. 14 million from medical, and then 31 million from rec. And that used to be almost like half. Remember, like medical and rec used to be about half, and now rec's kind of pulling away from medical. And I don't know if the numbers are going down. I need to check, and maybe I'll do an update next week on the medical numbers. But yeah, so medical cannabis, it's still strong. Don't get me wrong. That rhymes. But it's sitting about half and everything of what it is, and now it's kind of going down even further. So we'll see what happens in the future. That's still quite a bit of revenue that we're getting. The 31 million from taxed.
Well, what I see on that too a lot is I got a lot of folks that come in, they just let their cards expire.
Yeah.
And so they're willing to absorb the 20% tax.
Yeah.
And so I think that maybe that's part of why it's skewing nowadays.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes it takes a little bit. Actually, I got my renewal I think about a month and a half ago, and it took me about 6-7 months to finally get it. Just because I let it. That's the first time I let it lapse that long ever. Usually I was on it, but for some reason I did. But it wasn't that bad of a process these days. If you let it lapse, and they got it done pretty quick. And actually 36 hours after my doctor appointment, I had my card. Now it's digital.
Wow, that's quick.
Yeah, it's fast.
And speaking of that too, we're partnering with a doctor out in Anthony, and when you're online, you can or check us out in the post. We'll be posting those, but we're going to try to get to once a month where we've got the guy on site doing them for $55.
$55,
Or
nice.
free with Medicaid if they
Okay.
approve you.
I was gonna ask, with insurance. Okay, cool.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, if you guys have Medicaid, which a lot of people in the state do, go on down there, get your renewal, get a new card if you're a new patient, and most likely it's not going to come out of any charge of your pocket because you're just seeing the doctor. You're not getting a physical card at the time or anything. It's free through the state, so there's actually no charge. But yeah, that's the sales and everything. And then thank you for that, by the way. That's actually very helpful for the people, especially in that area, to get their cards. So it's really good to see. So I really wanted to update everybody on the sales because that's kind of significant. We're starting to see more revenue, but there's a lot of changes coming in New Mexico's market, and we're actually going to talk about that right now because the name of this episode is Blase, which is German for the bubble, and that bubble is rupturing right now as we speak, and we're sitting here having this conversation. So at the time of this recording, it's rupturing. By the time some of you watch it, it may have already bursted and stuff crazy and everything's burning. Just kidding, hopefully not. But that retail bubble is about to burst soon. And what I mean is that right now in New Mexico, we have 988 retail locations. That's not just manufacturing everything together. That's retail. So through the whole state, there's almost 1,000 retailers for 2.2 million people. And so a lot of these retail spaces do exist along the border between us and Texas. However, here in Cruces, what did you say we have 60 something, 66?
There are right now 60, last week, 60 licensed dispensaries in Las Cruces alone.
That is ridiculous. So, I mean, we have about 120,000 people within like the Cruces area. And, that's a lot of shops. And, I have seen a lot of, these shops suffering. Even the more popular shops are a lot slower because it's, so spread out and everything. And then the prices and all that. But the reason why I am saying the bubble's about to burst is because of the reason I'm saying before. We don't have enough people for that. And then once all of these producers start coming online that have been working to get online, which they are now, as I speak, there's more and more coming online here in New Mexico. The black market side is going to start to fall off. It'll never die. It'll just shrink. It's like fat cells. It's never going to go away. It just shrinks down to a small point to where you don't really notice it. And we're going to start seeing that. We kind of are starting to see that. And I mean, you were telling me pricing and everything, we're talking about that from the show. And this ties into, you guys' shop. The reason why you're able to provide such cheaper prices because wholesale prices dropped. And, it shocked me because it dropped significantly more than I thought it was going to or even was. Can you give us an idea of what the prices are for indoor and outdoor?
Absolutely. A year ago when things opened up, there were guys out there getting $3,500, $4,000 a pound. There were very few producers. That was on an indoor grow. Right now, those are down to reasonably, you can find $1,100, $1,200 a pound.
It's cheap.
It is very cheap for very nice indoor grow.
Yeah.
I've got some outdoor grow stuff that is top shelf for outdoor grow that I purchased for $650 a pound.
That's cheap.
Last week. And then outdoor stuff, I don't think you could get cheaper than $2,500 a pound last year. When it opened up. So as these guys are coming out, the licensed producers, and obviously you want to hit the stores that have the licensed producers. They've been tested. They've been checked. You're getting the best quality stuff. You know what you're getting. You're not buying something off the street. You're not buying behind the dumpster anymore.
Yeah.
So but it's nothing but good. And we've been able to pass those prices on to our customers as well.
Yeah.
So that's all coming down.
That's good. And, like you said, last year was about 3,500. And I thought at the lowest end this year would be about 1,800. So I'm actually a little bit incorrect on my guess, but I mean that's good that we're down that much because good for the consumer that we're down that much to $1,200, and it's easier for them actually as the retailers to provide a cheaper product for people because there's a niche for everybody. You have the higher end people who don't mind paying $14 a gram, then you have the people who on a budget and don't mind $7 a gram. And you have the people who just swear outdoor and will smoke nothing but outdoor.
Right.
You have all the crowds. You have the different spectrums. And I've seen, the prices drop at the retail locations throughout the state throughout the past couple of years. I've been going and seeing $160 ounces, $180 ounces, anywhere from even $40 half ounces, like with, specials and deals and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's dropping significantly. And I knew the first year was going to be the roughest. And then after that, those prices. And I told people last year, I said, don't get comfy with these prices. We will never, ever see these prices again.
Right.
It's $3,500, $4,000 sometime, pounds. That was just because scarcity, the market was immature. Everybody was still setting up. And, we had an issue and still have an issue of black market cannabis inside of our regulated industry. And we were talking before the show, even on Facebook, when you see a retail establishment or someone just trying to find cannabis for their retail, they put on there biotracked weed. I am looking for biotracked weed. And you would only need to put that if there was an abundance of black weed, black market cannabis in the market. And that's scary, like because a lot of the times that's not tested, or it's from another state that failed testing and they couldn't sell it there. Now it's coming over here to a black market where that doesn't matter. And so it's being manipulated. And we're going to start seeing, and we are starting to see that start to dwindle with, the other, like I said, the other guys coming online. Are you starting to see that too on your side? Obviously with the pricing, but are you starting to see more guys come online, local, with really good cannabis and all that?
Oh, absolutely. And on the black market thing, when we first opened up, I would see 5 or 6 guys a month that would show up trying to sell me product. My first question again was the BioTrack. That pretty much they turn tail, walk out the door. I'd maybe see one a month if I see it now. We have a product right now that we call Roll Your Own. It's in-house. We've got $35 quarters, $55 halves, and $100 ounces of a very high quality outdoor grow.
Yeah.
Not only is it high quality, but the guy spins it up in the machine, takes out all the non-smokable matter. So when you're buying a quarter ounce, you're buying a quarter ounce of 100% smokable.
Yeah.
Take it out, put it in your pipe, put it in there, roll it up. So again, that pricing is coming down. The quality is staying up. So it's good for everybody.
Oh, it is definitely, for everybody in the industry, for everybody consumer and all that. And I like it. But with all the good stuff, we also were getting the bad stuff. So with that being said, there's a lot of retail establishments who are relying on the black market to stay open. And the only reason why they have remained open and they're operating even today is because of the black market. And since we're starting to see that shrink more, we're going to start to see these licenses start to shut down. And even with 988, that becomes even harder to compete. So now you have to compete with these cheaper prices that are even probably cheaper than out-of-state cannabis from California per pound. You're gonna have to compete with that, or you're gonna have to make these relationships, and now you're behind on making these relationships with these growers. And so now you're gonna either get higher prices, or you're not gonna be able to get enough, or you're gonna get higher prices because of scarcity. And that could cause another boom of prices going up. It might go up slightly, but we're gonna see closures before we see the price go up. Before it goes up too much, we'll start to see closures. And right now, as I said, that bubble is ruptured, and we're going to start seeing a lot of weird stuff happening in our industry. What are some predictions that you could probably think that
Man, I'm thinking that within the next year and a half, 2 years, we're probably going to see a 75 to 80% attrition rate with dispensaries here in town, down on the border. I mean, it's just we've flooded the market, which is great, and you got to love the free market.
Yeah.
Those folks that can't stay, they're going to get weeded out. And I think it's going to be good for everybody. Now you're going to know that the places you're going, they're buying from licensed growers. Everything you have is tested. A little peace of mind for everybody. And plus, I say with all the prices coming down, knowing that you're getting good stuff for a good bargain.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's great that we are getting that, and that we're going to have tested cannabis now, because I have seen some of the black market cannabis. When I buy it, I'm like, that doesn't look like New Mexico, or like, you sure you did that?
Right.
Or like, someone, when I was working with another business, we would meet a grow and he'll tell us, oh, I'm going to pull, this amount, 100 pounds out of this, 5'5" area. And we're like, okay.
How many times over?
Yeah. I was like, all right. Yeah. Someone's doing some illegal stuff and they're not being smart about it. And another thing that, is really shocking is I called Andy Lyman today from the Santa Fe Reporter. We have a really good relationship and we keep in contact. And he's up north. And not only is he up north, he's in Santa Fe. So it's a different market away from us and from Albuquerque, the two biggest areas in the state. And I wanted to see what's going on there. And he told me that Oso shut down, actually. So,
really?
Yeah, and they're part of the Dirty 30. If you guys don't know what the Dirty 30 is they're the original producers when we were just medical. And so they've been around for a while. And they used to be, what was their name? I can't even remember it now. It's been so long.
I didn't know them before Oso.
Yeah, Compassionate Distributors. They used to be Compassionate Distributors, and they sold, and they became Oso. So that's what they are today. They shut down their shop in Santa Fe. And did you say they may have shut down another one? Or
I heard a little grapevine rumor that their Anthony location is going to shut down as well.
Okay, so I mean that'd be unfortunate if it did. But yeah, I mean something like that is actually quite alarming. You have someone that's been around for a while. They're a bigger dispensary. They have more locations in the state than some of the other people just starting out. So even if they're shutting down in a market like Santa Fe, that's kind of a sign that we're going to start seeing some even more closures. And we're probably going to see some closures from these bigger guys continue. The ones that set up shop in markets that just aren't performing well, that they thought were going to do well, those will probably shut down. They're not going to hurt because they have so much money. But if they're a mom and pop shop and they expanded too quickly, they're going to hurt and most likely shut down. I tell people this all the time. a lot of people, or even majority of the people in the cannabis industry today, haven't ran anything more than a track. And so, there's a lot of ignorance. And this is something that I told people even when I was on another podcast last year. We had a whole episode on it about being undereducated and underfunded. And those are going to be the two hurdles that you run into. And even today, that's still true. Yeah, people being undereducated and underfunded coming into this industry, just not knowing really what they're getting into. But that's okay. That is the free market, and that's capitalism. And in the end of the day, capitalism will play itself out if you allow it to in this scenario, especially with cannabis, the way we have it set up. We're not like California, where only 30% of the cities can sell cannabis. We didn't do that. We allowed it to actually become something where we can do something like this, where we have this abundance and then everything closes. Because cannabis retail establishments on a nationwide number is actually along the same lines of restaurants when it comes to closing. So which is about 75 to 80, even sometimes 90%. So I'm predicting about a 90% to 85% closure rate here in Las Cruces. Just in general, through the state, about 75, 80% closure rate of retail. So that 988 number is going to go down quite a bit. It'll go back up eventually once we get more operators who either fix their issues from before and they're coming back, or the people who were waiting for this point. Because we were talking about a couple of people, and from what it sounds like, they're just waiting for this bubble to pop. Exactly. Because once that happens, you're going to see licenses go up for really cheap. You're going to see equipment go up for really cheap, and all this stuff. So some people are going to capitalize off of that. But that's just the way that it goes in this industry. It's very cutthroat. I am starting to see a lot of infighting in the industry. Have you seen that, with other businesses?
Not really.
I get a lot of information from people, and there's a lot of infighting going on. And so it's sad to see, but it's going to happen. I mean, tensions are high, stress is high. Some people aren't making the revenue they once were before. Especially the ones that are relying on black market cannabis.
Right.
Now they're trying to compete with people who have a relationship with the growers and have a cheaper price point than them. And the CCD is cracking down. The state, they're starting to crack down. I'm sure they have information on people that have been doing it wrong for a long time, and they're probably going to do. I'm thinking a mass crackdown. Like a mass crackdown is just going to happen, and that's probably going to add to the 80-75% closure rate. It's not just going to be the people who did it wrong and couldn't make it. It's also the people who did it wrong and refused to do it right, even though they were given the opportunity to fix the issue and do it correctly. They're going to come down with the hammer and get shut down, because 988 and the state sees that. That's alarming to them too. And they already have been talking about, even when we were at about 300 or 400, is it too many? So now at 988, they're probably going to get a little more strict. So if you guys barely passed inspections the last time, you want to go back and make sure you pass inspections these next times, because it could get a little bad. I don't. How has it been for you guys?
We've had a couple of inspections. Our first one, they showed up in 420, not this year, but last year when we first opened. It was hectic. I got a shop full of people. We had a few violations then. Everybody had been open for 3 weeks. We've had 2 visits since then. Minor stuff. Hey, we didn't have a sign up here. We didn't have a sign up there.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I mean, it's as long as, and again, they've been real lenient with us as long as we're willing to correct whatever those deficiencies are. Then we're moving on and staying within the lines.
Yeah, so that's great. Yeah, that's good to hear.
So, and then they've kind of left us alone for the last 8 or 9 months. So, maybe we're okay here for a while.
Yeah. Maybe they're too busy with the ones who are doing it very incorrectly. So, I mean, do you have anything on this topic, really? I mean, I have a few more things to really talk about, but
just talking about, like I said, the glut of dispensaries that are out there, and like you say, that people not being business people. I think that everybody had this wild idea, that it was going to be a get rich quick scheme, and I allowed myself to buy into that a little bit. But we've owned other businesses, and it's just like any other business, man. You do it right, you capitalize right, you make things happen, and it continues. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's the longevity. You got to be in it for the long term, providing good stuff, good customer service, build that reputation. It's really not a sell yourself thing and a get rich quick scheme that I think a lot of people thought.
It's a real tortoise versus the hare kind of scenario.
Absolutely.
The hare takes off. And you know what? When I was, I did track when I was younger, and I did the mile. I was like a 5-minute mile runner. My brother runs faster, way faster than me. But I remember there was always the guys that would start out sprinting at the very beginning, and they would always finish last. And so that's just one of the things that reminds me, when you hear the tortoise and the hare, it's not just a metaphor for, something like that. It happens in real life all the time, even in sports. And we're seeing it now in the cannabis industry. Some people just went too hard, expanded way too fast, They didn't wait and weren't patient and, kind of let the market mature a little bit more. They thought they were really going to capitalize and, get so far ahead of everybody. But that pie is so huge that you're doing yourself you're not doing yourself a favor by doing that.
No,
Yeah. There's just so much out there. And then now with things changing, it's another thing that you have to fight around, and you're just making it worse for yourself. And one thing I do want to really touch on too is our taxes. Our taxes, and I read this from an article from Andy Lyman. He actually wrote it, and he was talking about the federal taxes, because since we're a federally illegal industry, we have to pay not just regular federal taxes. We have to pay pretty much a drug dealer federal tax. It's actually the same tax that they got Al Capone on that he wasn't paying, and that's the same tax. And I think it's almost like 40%. It's something ridiculous. You have to pay it.
This is our first year.
Yeah.
So, and our accountants are still figuring that stuff out.
Yeah.
But when we built into our business plan about a 30% tax rate, and again, that's with zero deductions.
Yeah.
So I got no write-offs. I got no nothing. It's just I'm illegal, but they're happy to take my money.
Yeah, exactly. They won't mess. The IRS won't mess with you. But oh man, my pocketbook is really small, and that black market looks really good right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one reason that California is having such an issue, is their high taxes. And
back underground,
going back, and that's the only way that these places can make money. And we're seeing that here in New Mexico too. Some of these places that either aren't doing the business correctly or they're not doing it the legal way, they're having this issue here with the federal taxes. They're like, I'm getting taxed too high, blah, 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 my overhead. And that could be maybe a sign that someone's doing it wrong, as if, they're kind of not doing the federal taxes part correctly. Or they're like, oh, I'm struggling because of the federal taxes. I get it, but it's possible. People, are able to do it if you do it correctly. But if we start raising our state taxes even further, like it's planned in the law, then we're going to start seeing a California issue here. We're going to start seeing the opposite happen. Right now, we're kind of headed the right direction. We're kind of in a corrective mode. But if we do that taxes thing, then we're going to start seeing the black market kind of take back over. So that's one thing that I've been stressing for a long time, is we need to go back and either lower our taxes. And I think a total of 10% to 15% when it's said and done is fair. Or keep it at the 20% if we want to meet in the middle, which I kind of feel that would be more or less what they would go for.
Well, that's a cumulative tax, right? Because we're 12% excise
tax,
tax,
and then you have the state local tax. Yeah,
and I'm thinking I think that 12% is probably really should be the cap. My understanding is it's supposed to go to either 16 or 18.
Yeah, and then it goes all the way up to, I think,
period.
to 20-something%. So like a total of 40%, and after like a decade or something crazy. I mean, total after everything's said with all the cumulative taxes. But yeah, it's 12% right now. But with the regular state taxes and everything added to it, it adds up to 20%. And so that's what we mean. But right now, yes, it is at 12%, but that's just for cannabis. That's before a regular tax of 8% that we have in the state. So it goes up to 20. I feel that is like a threshold for our state, a 20% tax. Yes. That's barely affordable for most people here. I kind of feel 15 would give us some wiggle room.
15 would be better.
Yeah.
But if we had a cumulative tax, it's going to be 20%, not going beyond.
Yeah.
I don't see that being horrible. But like you said, as they start to step that up, and they're going to cut their own noses off to spite their own faces.
Yeah.
Right now, they've got a cash cow at their 12%. I think they're getting greedy. Anything beyond there. And the state really hasn't done a lot to make it friendly for businesses here either. I still have a huge beef with the advertising. I've been fighting with the state over their own laws. They won't let me do this, although it says I can do this. I can brand. It says that in their laws. I've highlighted it, sent it back to them, and they said, "Well, you still can't do it. I can't run radio spots that I was running in the beginning. I'm limited to everything that I can do. I can't draw attention to myself, which would in turn increase tax revenues, which would but you can." Dylan Mulvaney can do Bud Light commercials.
Exactly. I can't talk about cannabis.
Put it on YouTube. But I can't. I can't put my stuff out there. I can't talk about my product. I can't advertise and bring attention to it to where I'm at.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense to me either, because if you look at TV, like, oh, we're just worried about the kids. I'm like, your kids do worse stuff on YouTube and video games than I can say on the radio.
Yes.
Like the worst happens on regular TV that you see visually than I can say on the radio.
Yeah.
Like, you can cuss all you want on the radio. You can talk about drugs and do drugs. Like, they depict people smoking weed all the time on TV shows. And, I can't even talk about weed on the radio. So it seems like there's a disconnect between radio and TV in advertising in general when it comes to cannabis. But there is a disconnect between those two just starting out.
Yes.
And I kind of feel there's a little bit of unfairness. And just my few months working in this space within the radio world, I've learned a lot about it. And that's one thing that I've learned is that there is a big disparity between laws. And once you get into cannabis, it's even worse.
Yeah.
You know, it gets even bad. It funnels down to even a worse area you don't want to be. And that's something that I think that we need to change when it comes to the law. And I keep preaching this, and I will keep preaching it. We all need to work together. We're better together. And if we do work together, we'll get what we want. We'll be able to advertise on the radios and the TV. We'll be able to keep it at 20% or maybe lower for the taxes. So that way businesses can thrive and people can afford more cannabis. You know, it's a rolling downhill thing. He has to pay more taxes. He has to raise his prices. I have to pay more when at the end of the day. So, I mean, it goes down like that. So there's a lot that goes into this bubble.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's just not one thing or even two things. On this list right here, I would have like 10.
We're scratching the surface.
Yeah, we're just scratching the surface at 10 here, possibly. I'm not even counting it. Just, you know, it's quite a few. You know, and what are we going to do when Texas comes online? You know, maybe in 5 years, you know, or it could be even closer because they're seeing more progress than I thought that we were going to have at this point. So once we see Texas come online, we're also going to see that 41 million that's increasing every month. That's going to drop significantly.
Yep.
We still may see some El Paso people and people near the border of the two states kind of coming over if at the beginning because they're still getting set up and, you know, they're not going to have enough product and it's going to be more pricier there. So we'll see it for a couple of years. But after that, it's just going to drop significantly because there's no point. You know, like the only reason they would come here to buy cannabis is if they go to like Rio Doso.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, they go to the West Texas Hamptons and, you know, or they come here to cruises for whatever reason, you know, like a UTEP versus New Mexico State game, you know, or something like that, you know, or maybe a concert. So there's a lot that goes into this, guys, but that bubble is rupturing. It's happening right now. I'm seeing it. If you're being affected by this, I'm sorry. But at the same time, you knew the game you're getting into. You know, this is a cutthroat industry. This game is something that we all play, and it's kind of a gamble. You know, like especially, you know, like I said, I thought prices were going to be different. He's telling me they're significantly lower than I thought they were going to be. And the prices that we're seeing now are closer to what a mature market looks like, you know, and that's something that I predicted would be about 4 or 5 years from the beginning. And we're seeing that within about a year. I knew the prices were going to drop, but this is alarming, you know, how low that is. So the people who are using black market cannabis in your retails, you may want to think about stop going that route and start making relationship with the people who are coming online before you kind of move further. I mean, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, as the number of producers have come around and gotten better and better, then excuse me, I'm sorry about that.
You had a buzzy buzz.
I thought the damn thing turned off.
It happens.
But as you've got more licensed producers coming on board with tested cannabis, with quality cannabis, there's no reason to go to the black market. There's no reason to go outside. I mean, you know, for 50 cents a gram, what you're going to ruin yourself and run afoul of the law for it.
Yeah.
Like they're out there, they're coming online. Everything's getting better. It's stabilizing. So yeah, I mean, we really need to make a push to get these guys out that are running the black market stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, there's a bunch of people in the community who would disagree with me. You know, black market's king. And, you know, at the end of the day, yeah, black market will always be there. Maybe black market is king. But at the same time, you're not going to be able to compete with a cheaper regulated market. You know, alcohol has a black market. Tobacco has a black market, but they're so small that they're almost unnoticeable. You know, people still get popped for it, but it's really small. Can you get tax-free tobacco? Sure, on the black market. Can you get moonshine? Sure, on the black market. If you want to go that route, of course, you know, and I've had the black market moonshine before. I'm sure most Americans have. So, you know, we're all guilty of that. But at the same time, like, it's not going to be something that you can rely on in the end, especially with the market coming online and becoming more mature. Once federal legalization comes, or we hope decriminalization, that's going to change tenfold. You know, now we have a federally legal substance, and now there's even more of a less of a point to go that route. You know, and it's even more of a point to do it the right way. So that's my take on it, guys. You know, I'm sure some of you will have, you know, different opinions on it, but this is really what's happening in our industry and the reason why. Disagree or agree what you want with when it comes to the black market, that's whatever. But these are the facts of the reason why this bubble's happening and the reason why this bubble's about to burst. Black market plays a big role in it. And, you know, so these other things. And I just wanted to really highlight that because this is huge. And this is something I'm going to be talking about for probably the next few weeks and it's going to be ongoing. And I'll probably do updates on my social media and stuff as it comes, because I only do the show once a week and maybe twice if we do a review or something. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on it. And as I find out more stuff, I'll keep it updated on here, especially on my socials. Yeah, this bubble, it's getting interesting. Almost 1,000 licenses. We'll see what it is next month. But what do you have? Anything else for the bubble?
Man, no.
Blase.
I'm just ready for it to burst.
Yeah, it's rupturing right now. It's ripping. But yeah, we're just waiting for the pop. So yeah. But anyway, we're gonna go to the last topic of the day. Actually, there's two quick ones. I just want to touch on this quick one. It's a Oregon Secretary of State from Oregon State, not like Oregon Mountain. She's from Oregon State, and her name is Shemaya Fagan, and she accepted $10,000 per month from a company called La Mota. And I guess they also gave her a bonus of $30,000 for every license that they helped her get outside of New Mexico and Oregon. So the only reason why I'm mentioning this story is because we actually have a play in it. And the fact that it's called La Mota tells me that we had some kind of play in it in the first place. If some of you watching aren't from here, La Mota is slang for weed, or the weed, for like, cannabis, marijuana. So that's what tells me that, we did have a play in it. I'm not too sure what the details are in it. She stepped down from her position. And she's going to probably I think she's going to go away from this contract and just probably step away and go into the shadows, because that was pretty shady. That was pretty shady. I don't know. I think she's done in the government. And so, yeah, that's just one thing that goes on with the cannabis industry, guys. It's a cutthroat, shady industry sometimes, and stuff like this happens all of the time. This is just a person who got caught. Right? So anyway, that was it for that one. I mean, do you have anything on that? I mean, anything to touch with that?
Well,
one?
I mean, we saw it happen here in the state.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the lady's name, but she was the head of the CCD when we opened up.
Yes.
She took about 6 or 8 months in that position, and then took a very high-paying job with some other cannabis company.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, and I was like, it doesn't surprise me. No. I was like, it's frustrating, but that does not surprise me one bit. So yeah, that's it for that story. I just wanted to let you guys know the bonus thing I got. As you guys heard at the beginning, I talked about a review. So Coco Dean and I of 4C's Cannabis started doing some reviews. The first one we did was High Lonesome Cannabis, and you can find that on YouTube under #Grassy Logic Extras. It's going to be under that on a different channel, so you can check it out there. That's where we're going to be posting the review stuff, just to get it out to you guys. It's going to be sporadic. We're not going to do it like at a set schedule. So just keep an eye out, keep your notifications on, and that way you can be notified when the newest review come out. I'll try to keep people updated when we're going to do the new one, but it might just pop up. I might just tell you who we're doing at that time, or who the review is. So yeah, we're going to try to keep it casual, fun with that one and everything. If you want to come on someday, as a guest, you're more than welcome. We're going to have guests on. So it'd be great to see more people come and do reviews with us too. Just kind of sit back in more of a chill environment, it'd be great. So I really, glad to have you on. Like I said, guys, this is going to be a shorter episode. I know we babbled on about this bubble, but that bubble it's talk of the whole town.
Yes, there it is. Every time another one pops up, I left one evening to go pick up something at Wendy's on Solano or El Paseo, and I drove by 4 new places that I hadn't seen in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
they're popping up on every corner.
Oh, they are all the time.
Sustainable.
It is, yeah, and it's bound to pop, and it's going to happen here soon. So anyway, guys, that's all I have for this week. Tune in next week for another episode, and I will let Bob actually take us out this week, and I'll see y'all then.
Hey, thank you very much for having me. And you don't have to wait for Chad's review. You can go to Google and see all the 5 stars there yourself. I'm on it. See GreenGo.
I like that.
Thank you much.
All right, guys. See you next week.